Okay. Glad you guys are here. I know you don't do this a lot. I must tell you, I always have an open mind about everything on this show. And in the past, I did not do a deep dive into your situation because, you know, I don't have time to deep dive. Now we've done it. We have.
So, this is a very exclusive interview that I was able to pull off of another website. And I want to share it with you guys because this should have been done, what, 2.5 years ago? Let me just let some of it play and I'll tell you why.
Have deep dived, and I just want to say there's two sides to every story, but I'll say right up front, my opinion, you guys, you have a side. I do understand why you're pissed. So let me start with you, because the book, very page turner, and your theory seems to be that there was a takedown of the governor. Let me ask the question I think a lot of people would be asking, which is why in a liberal state, a liberal governor, a liberal newspaper, why would they take down their own?
I think that the New York Times in particular, which was sort of the driver of this manufactured scandal, in my opinion, has been leading the Me Too movement, has been out front on everything and constantly redefining what it is to have an executable offense. And when we got to this moment, I go through it in the book where I go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The moment that was sort of like the pinnacle, what is going on, is when they have this woman who the governor had met at a wedding. He was officiating the wedding. He walked around kissing everyone on the cheek, taking photographs of everyone. He put his hands on the woman's face.
I remember, front page.
And they put this on the front page. And it was just this arms race. The reporter.
So the reason why I feel like this is very important, this interview, is because So the reason why I feel like this interview is very important is because when this happened to Andrew Cuomo, it was around a time where I had a rage for Andrew Cuomo, okay? I still kind of do. This was when, you know, we knew everybody was all glorifying Andrew and they were saying, oh my God, he did so good with COVID. He did so good with COVID. But you guys already know that I'm a registered nurse. I was supposed to go to New York and work in New York. And then they told me they didn't have enough COVID patients because I was going to work with the homeless population and things like that in the Javits Center or in the hotels. And then they said, oh, we don't have enough patients. And then I didn't go. They stopped me from going. And why? Because they put the patients in the nursing homes. And guess who died? So I had a rage for Cuomo. I even did an episode about this on my other channel. And then they came out with he hugged women too long. And I was like, now I got to sit here and defend this guy like, who I can't stand. See, that's the thing. I don't, just because I'm not, a virtue signaler. I can always tell some sort of targeted smear, this targeted smear, like a smear, what do they call them? Like a plan or something to go after somebody, right? And I just could see this is what it was. I said, this is a plan. They have something, they want to get him. And then the very same people who told me that I was crazy for calling him out for what he did, they ended up going after him about this Me Too stuff, and I had to defend him against them. It was just the most insane thing on Facebook.
It was like they wanted to put a head on the wall, and then you had the far extremes on both sides.
I must say,
resignation.
When I heard 11 cases,
yep.
And again, this is not deep diving, because there's so many of these stories, and I just go by numbers. Like, it's like, oh, well, if it's 11, there's got to be something there. Now, maybe there is. Only you know that. You're the only one who knows the whole story here, on your side. Obviously, people have different sides. The State Assembly Judiciary Committee, their view was damning. It said overwhelming evidence that the former governor engaged in sexual harassment. I mean, why is that? Because they're in on it too.
Because they were going to affirm her report, right? They asked for the report, yes. They were going to reform. They were just going to, frankly, go through a process because she was getting serious questions about the report, right? As soon as anybody read...
We're talking about Letitia James.
Letitia James.
She's now going after Trump in New York also?
Yes.
Okay. But she's the one, you're saying, this is the thesis of your book.
Yep.
Basically had it out for you.
Well, she had it in for her, right? She wanted my job, which was part of the motivation here. But she put out a report. She said 11. That was the brilliant manipulation of this, because you and everyone else said, oh, 11 cases, even if half of them are wrong.
Right.
11 is so many. Turn the page, I don't even have to bother reading the report. That was the manipulation of the media, put together with the fact that the media isn't really going to question any of those claims anyway, right? Because the media now is a resonator for the partisan side. And on the left, they're not going to question any accusation of sexual harassment. If anyone read the report, which 3 days later, the Daily News actually reads the report and says, hold on a second, because even the report itself doesn't justify the headline.
I must admit,
The report doesn't justify, and he's absolutely right. So, like, the thing is, like, I was all over this, and a lot of this stuff I definitely forgot, right? But what I remembered was how fast the whiplash was. By the way, guys, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell, because you're not going to hear this really much anywhere. To be honest, this is an exclusive clip, okay? Okay, right? So the problem is that you're not going to hear this anywhere else because, you know, because people don't want to touch this. And I'm a female telling you that I can tell when women often, I'm sorry, y'all, I have a lot coming through for some reason. I need to turn that off. Okay, anyway, so you're not gonna hear women talk like this. I can smell a female who's been paid off to say that they hugged her too long. I was going off about this. I was like, so y'all never had office wives and office husbands, right? This is now all of a sudden, this is just like, all of a sudden we don't know that this is a thing. And I get it. Oh, he's a leadership position. They were saying he hugged them too long as far as I was concerned. Sorry. And I could tell it was a smear. And look at him. He sits there with his freaking foot up. I can't stand him. I think he's pompous. But I can't go along with this one. I can't.
it is just not the media that I grew up with. It just isn't. I mean, I remember watching All the President's Men and Ben Bradley, you know, played by Jason Robards, and he says to the reporters a couple of times, you don't have it. You don't have it yet.
Yep.
I feel like that is what's missing. That idea that you have to have it.
No, in everything they were sourcing, you know, blind sources. They weren't asking for any corroboration. They were turning the other way when there was clear manipulation and lies, and people were lying about the terms that they left the office and tweeting things. They asked me to sign an NDA that was provably not true. And if to question was to smear, and you weren't allowed to ask any questions. And if you did that, you were victim shaming. And the problem with the Me Too movement, in my opinion at this point, is that we've lost our footing. Rape is the same as kissing someone on the cheek. It all just gets thrown into the same pile, and that you should resign and you should be canceled, and that's the end of it.
But, I mean, here's a line from your book. You're talking, the report came out, went to 4 DAs, I think.
Five district attorneys, yep.
So, and nobody brought a case.
Correct.
But you said, of course not. You're talking to someone in the office when they told you this result. You said, of course not, because kissing someone on the cheek is not a crime. Neither is putting your hands on someone's face at a wedding, gripping someone's shoulders at a public event, or patting their stomach as you walk through the door. I gotta stop you at stomach.
I mean, I guess I do have to stop you at stomach as well, because that is a bit much. But still, I don't think that this was a thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think this is a thing. I don't. I just simply don't.
I mean, you almost had me with some of these other ones, but don't touch my stomach. Seriously?
Fair enough.
Okay, but see, I think this is, you know, again, only you know, but at very least, don't you think you kind of didn't get the memo when the Me Too thing happened? And you like, I get it, we're of a different generation. A lot of this is generational. The kids don't want to be touched. They just don't. You know, it's like the public space, I mean, private, personal space is just different to different generations. You're old school, and, you know, I just think you didn't understand that.
Well, I got the memo. Maybe not the weekly updates, but I got the memo. And I got it intellectually, but it can be carried to an absurd extent, right? And when you say generational, I think it's partially generational, but it's not all young people. It's generational / political. You know?
And that's really what it was. And the thing is, right? And we'll have part 2. I think we'll have to cover part 2. Sorry. This is just ridiculous. But I feel like there's a lot to it that Andrew will never tell anybody. I think they wanted him to do something that he actually finally was like, I can't get down with that. This is a bit much. Maybe I'll never know what it is. I don't know. But I know a smear campaign. That's what I was the word I was looking for when I see one. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.